Did you hit the button again? Stop hitting the button. Take 3. Today on Under the Hood, we're talking about service brakes, parking brakes, axle seals. This is a great opportunity to just run through this stuff, kind of give you a couple more words to be familiar with when you're talking to shops, you're talking to us. Just kind of gives you like an idea of what we're talking about. You know, seeing is believing, seeing is understanding. So, come in a little bit. These are your brakes. Your regular service brake when you hit the pedal. This caliper is a caliper. Okay, it squeezes this piston out. Okay, and that sits on there like that. That applies pressure through the brake pads, and it slows on the rotor. Okay, so that's basic brakes 101. It's your brake rotor. Every time you do a brake job, you should replace it, or machine it, or service it in some form or fashion, just for a whole host of reasons. Primarily, longevity of the brakes, reduce the likelihood of squeaking, vibrations, all kinds of stuff. So always a good idea. Pretty much mandatory to do the job properly. You need to replace the rotor, or you need to machine it. Inside of here is your parking brake shoes and assemblies. So this is a disc brake system. Your parking brakes are a drum system. Drum brakes are, they used to be the primary function, like, cars, like when we were growing up, you had front discs, rear drums. Nowadays, pretty much everything is disc all the way around. Some parking brake systems still live inside of here. They're drum brakes. Sometimes they're actually built into your caliper. We don't have one of those here today, so we're just talking about your traditional parking brake shoes. So, come in here and look. You have your parking brake shoes on either side. They're held together with a whole host of springs and clips and retainers. There's a lot going on. So basically, from the back side, like if you want to come over here, show them the cable. This is the parking brake cable. So when you press your foot down on the parking brake cable or pull up on the handle, depending on which system your car has, that cable retracts. It spreads these parking brake shoes, and that makes contact with the inside of the rotor here. And that's what holds your car while it's in park. So that's parking brake shoes in a nutshell. The parking brake shoes tend to last a lot longer than your regular service brakes, just because they're not actually used to slow the vehicle. They're just used to hold the vehicle when you're parked, or in case of an emergency and your regular brakes give out, then you have the ability to apply your emergency brake or parking brake, hence the difference in names. This is a great vehicle to just run through real quick, the axle seal, because this one is leaking really badly. So again, you can see like down here, I'm gonna try not to make it too bright. Can you see that, Mikey? Mm-hmm. You can see this is all that is axle lube, okay? And that is that's the rear differential oil, gear oil, and there is a, coming from this angle, can you see down in there? You see where try going to the left a little. Let me see if I can get right there. There you go. You can see the seal, okay? So this is the axle. This is where the power comes from. There's a shaft that runs through the center of this differential, and there's a seal that rides on that. Bill, you got one of those seals over there, buddy? Show everybody. So basically that seal, whether it's through contamination of the fluid, your parking brake assembly coming apart, destroying that seal, it starts to leak, and you can see it's just saturated everything. It gets embedded in the brakes. It's actually in the service brakes. It's just kind of everywhere. So the right way to fix it is to replace everything, because once it's kind of saturated, there's another word, doesn't matter, for when the gear oil gets on the brake fluids, it just doesn't stop as well. The friction material has been compromised, and with brakes, you really just don't want to mess around, because if your car does nothing else well, it really ought to brake and stop. So this is the seal. You can see, so this sits inside there, shaft comes through there, and it makes, just kind of sits on that seal, okay? There's a little spring on the back here That spring holds the tension on the seal. Sometimes that spring just wears over time. Sometimes it falls off. A whole host of reasons why these things fail. Mileage is most of the time, you know, hot, cold cycle, stuff like that. So I think that's a pretty good visual representation of everything that's going on in your back parking brakes, brake assembly, your hub assembly, the axle seals, emergency brakes, parking brakes, service brakes. You know, there's all kinds of stuff. So just this is more of a show and tell. Really nothing learned or gained through this besides some base level knowledge. And hopefully if you're coming to us, you know, we'll explain all this again if and when you need some of these services. But if you are going somewhere else and you just stumbled across this video, hopefully this gives you some knowledge so that you can understand what they're talking about. Anyways, thanks everybody for tuning in. Remember to like, subscribe, tell your neighbor, tell your coworker, tell your grandma. Come check us out. We're Undisputed. Appreciate you.